On Wednesday, the European Commission published the 2023 Progress Report for Albania, taking stock of the good, the bad and the ugly when it comes to meeting the requirements of the EU membership in a number of key areas. The report is over 130 pages long, so to break things down for us, I'm joined by Glidis Japali, Executive Director of the European Movement Albania. Good afternoon, welcome to Inside Albania.
Thank you for the invitation. It's a pleasure.
Now, as I said, the report is very long and there is a lot of information in there which is maybe not particularly interesting to our average viewer. But what good news? Let's start with the good news. What good news did the report bring?
Well, it's a positive report. So that's the first good news. And the second is that it supports and it encourages that the opening of the negotiations to start on December this year. So this is a clear endorsement, which is of course needed by the Commission. And now it's up to the member states in the Council to decide. But the Commission, the technical evaluation of all the reforms of the country have passed a positive review. And that's a good news.
So does that mean, because I'll just explain for the viewers, each sort of section of the report, Albania is graded in a way, you know, at what level of preparedness it has. Has Albania either improved or stayed the same across the board, or has it regressed in any areas?
No, there is no regression in any of the topics evaluated by the report. There is different levels of progress in different areas. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. But the positive wording, it can be noticed in all the key areas. So Albania has progressed at different speeds in different areas, I can say.
And just to pick on a few areas, specific areas, where has Albania seen very good progress over the last year in the view of the European Commission, specifically?
Well, yeah, the justice reform, I think it's the most important one. And it continues to deliver progress. And this is also detailed with the completion of the Constitutional Court, the Special Court for the prosecution institution. So the vetting process it's going smoothly, although we know that there have been delays, but at least it looks that it's going in the right direction to be closed in the next years. And this is very important because the justice reform is one of the key components when evaluating the rule of law cluster for each of the countries, which, as we know, the new methodology is the key issue for each of the Western Balkan countries who are in the accession process.
Now, for some of the less positive comments in the report, I saw that corruption was raised as an area with serious concerns. The report said it's prevalent in many areas of public and business life, and preventative measures have very little impact. Another section which jumped out at me, being a journalist, was freedom of expression. Limited progress made, problems with lack of financial transparency, media ownership, working conditions, verbal and physical attacks, smear campaigns and slap suits against journalists. These were some of the areas where I was disappointed perhaps there wasn't much progress. But in your view as well, were there any other areas where maybe we could have hoped for a little more progress and improvement?
Well, it needs to be said that the report also, apart from evaluating the progress in all the areas, it's also adapted to the current situation that we are in the process. So the next step is the opening and starting of the talks on the first cluster. And then we'll open many issues to be discussed and to be translated into homework for Albania. So at this stage, the Commission says that there is enough progress to advance to the next stage. But the issues like media freedom, fight against corruption, fight against organized crime, these are persistent issues that will be continue to stay high on the agenda of reforms that Albania need to implement.
Do you see real progress when we look at the reports over the last few years? Do you think this is an accurate reflection of how things are here?
Well, yes and no. I mean, the yes, it's because we should see it also in the larger context. And Albania, it's now clearly the best in the class from the Western Balkan countries. If we compare the other
Serbia.
reports and what's happening in the other countries. When there is the no, because of course we want to see more positive development in the country, because we have been stuck for a long time in this process. So it's looking for a bureaucratic or a technocratic view. It's appropriate this evaluation for a country who should start the negotiation right now. So it's in the beginning of the process.
What real purpose do you think these reports have for, your average Albanian citizen, aside from the politics? Why should they care?
Yeah, I mean, it's we know it's a technocratic document, so it's difficult to read it for a person who is not involved in this issue. It's not his daily work. I think that being debated by politicians, it's a good sign. Unfortunately, I'd see it in the last year. It's not debated enough. It's forgotten after one day. We debate more when there is a high-level event or meeting, when there is some declaration, or sometimes they don't say anything, but there is a lot of discussion, who said this, who said that, and less discussion about these reports, which are very important because they do a screening, a scan of the problematics of our society. So it's not just the way ahead towards EU standards, it's also what's missing, what's lacking. And I think that it's useful, and there is a part here to play, especially from the media, but also from the civil society, to make it more, to explain it more, to make it more readable or digestible for the public.
Now, my last question for you, I heard from one of my colleagues in another European country today that there were some comments circulating that perhaps some of the criticism in Western Balkan countries' reports had been watered down. So they'd been given sort of a slightly rosier report than they maybe deserved, because of the fact that, as we know, the Commission is now going to push ahead with opening accession processes for Moldova and Ukraine. So it was sort of, they're saying, oh, the Western Balkans got a rosier outlook, less criticism, to keep them a bit happier because of what's happening with Moldova and Ukraine. Do you think this is a fair analysis?
Yes, to a certain degree, I think that it's true that the Commission has watered down a little bit its tones, but I don't think it's only for this year. I've seen it in the last, let's say, 3 or 4 years. And this is also because of what the member state ask from the Commission. Sometimes they are more critical, sometimes they are not critical, but the decision-making is different. So that's why the Commission doesn't want to jump into the debate when the member states will not deliver at the end, because they are the ones who take the decisions. That's why the language is more balanced, more careful, so not to make big promises, but also not to punish the countries for
not to demotivate them. They want to keep them a bit motivated, and
Of course, and the Commission is like in the middle of 2 fires.
Glidis, thank you very much for your insights.
It was a pleasure.
Thanks.
Thank you.
That's all for this week. Remember, you can tune in to Inside Albania on Euronews Albania at 5 o'clock every Saturday on our YouTube channel or across all major podcasting platforms. Miropavshim.